Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate that, and appreciate you all being here today to testify to us. Dr. Frieden, if I could get you to turn to tab 5 in the booklet. And as you look at that, there at tab 5, that is the HHS Inspector General report regarding the CDC Roybal facility, which says it was sent to you. Have you seen this before at some point? Front page says it was sent to you. Okay. And then if I could direct you to page 5. And on page 5 it says that the Inspector General's office could not verify that 10 out of 30 sampled approved individuals for select agents had received the required training. And do you see that on that page?
Yes.
And likewise it says that the that select agent inventory records are incomplete, and you also acknowledge that that's on that page?
Yes.
And then if you go over to page 6, the report says that that agents stored in areas, that there were agents stored in areas not listed in the registration. You see that at the top of the page as well, on page 6.
Yes.
Thank you. And one example given is a scientist found a vial of select agent in a drawer, and another scientist discovered 16 vials stored in an unsecured freezer. Do you see that in that paragraph?
Yes.
That area, yes. And the report on page 6 also states that there were unauthorized transfers and packages received by unapproved individuals. Now, my concern is this is at the Roybal facility. Weren't these the same kind of violations that then popped up and were found in subsequent inspections by the USDA in 2013 and 2014, and then revealed again in the matter that brings us here today in the anthrax and flu incidents of 2014? Aren't they the same types of problems?
The answer is yes and no. The specific problems that were found led to a specific response. For example, on security, we implemented layers of security. We strengthened the systems. We locked. We improved personal background checks and security. So in each of these, we
Let me
felt.
ask you this question. Did you all do a system-wide after these problems were discovered? Because we've got 2010, then we've got 2013, and earlier in 2014. Did you all ever do a system-wide recheck?
Not adequately.
Okay.
Not adequately. We addressed the specific problems, I believe, with a sincere effort to rectify them, but what we missed was the broader pattern that we are now addressing by strengthening our culture of safety in our labs.
All right, and I do appreciate that, and I know that you're having to answer a lot of tough questions, and I appreciate your demeanor here today. I do think that's appropriate and appreciated. That being said, let's look over at page 7, and then on top of page 8, there are 5 recommendations there. If you could read those out loud that take place, and then let me know if they were followed up on.
Well, I can shorten this by saying that the key one is the 5th. And the 5th has to do with confirming that materials are inactive before transferring them, and that was specifically what was not done in the anthrax incident. So if we had applied this broadly, this incident would not have happened. The specific, just to give you a sense of it, in 2006, the same laboratory, the Bratt Lab, had a pretty similar incident, and that's why that's why I directed that it be put into our July 11th report. And after that incident, they implemented a standard operating procedure for that particular type of biological material leaving their laboratory. But when they had a different type of biological material leaving the same laboratory, they didn't apply that standard operating procedure that would have inactivated it. So I do think it's the lack of adequate pattern recognition that has led us, until these last few weeks, not to undertake the kind of comprehensive, sweeping change and improvement in our laboratory safety culture that we're now implementing.
Well, I appreciate that. Now, what about the other 4? Number 5 may have been the most important, but could you look at the other 4?
The first has to do with physical security measures, and I believe we've taken a number of steps there. There are still steps that we need to do better on in that area, having to do with staff coming in and not swiping in every time.
And you've indicated you're going to up training, which was number 3. What about number 2?
Yes, I think we've made a great deal of progress on ensuring that only approved individuals are allowed access to select agents, and Mr. Henderson can speak more to that.
All right, we've got 20 seconds to do number 4.
Inventory is an area where we have done a number of things, but given the recent incident at NIH and the fact that inventory is a flashpoint, we will be reviewing all of our inventory work. It's a massive job to do it right, but we will do that as well.
Well, and I appreciate that. The safety of the American public rests in your hands. Thank you, and I yield back.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now recognize Ms. Schakowsky for 5 minutes.